This is BC Spirits, your look at the province's burgeoning distilling culture.
Welcome to another episode of BC Spirits. Of course, I'm your host, Sean Sewell. This week, I decided to do a nut liqueur. Now, which seems very weird because I thought that there wouldn't be too many. But we're going to go with nut flavoring. Now, I've got 3 Nocinos, which are typically made with green walnuts, and usually very seasonal for the Nocinos. And then, of course, I've got Amaretto, which a lot of people think are made from almonds, but it's actually made from apricot kernels. So, that's a little bit different as well. So, to kick it off, we're going to start with one of the very first ones. I believe that Ampersand's Nocino is the very first Nocino available in the province. So, it's from here on the island, up in Duncan. Actually, no, it's not Duncan. Where is it? Oh, Cowichan Valley. So, green walnuts that they use, along with spices from fresh lemon, cinnamon, allspice, and sweetened with local honey, which you're going to see a lot of local honey sweetening in these ones. A little stuffy this right now. Oh, you gain that deep green walnut, like you gain that straight away. It's that like rich, deep walnut on the nose. But then you get the brightness of that lemon peel, which a lot of people wouldn't assume that you'd do a lemon peel or like a citrus peel of some sort to brighten up those flavors. But acid always like makes everything else like pop a little bit. It's a little bit like salt and pepper in your food. The honey is really nice, but not overpowering. This is a deep one. The spice and the green almonds green walnuts just like get you right down deep inside. And for an original like Italian classic, Nocino is typically Italian. It's a great representation straight off the hop. So next up is brand spanking new. I think this has only been released for about 2 weeks right now. It's the Woods Nocino. Now, Woods is a little bit different. They have a vacuum still, which if you've watched any of the episodes with the Amaro or the gin, the Woods products get put into a vacuum still, which makes the alcohol boil at a lot lower temperature because it's in a vacuum, so it's much lower and much more gentle. So your flavor profiles become, instead of being like boiled aggressively, much more subtle, and they've been pulled very slowly and gently from the base spirit. So this one is made with green walnuts, orange peel, coffee beans, and herb sauce in Summerland. Yeah, on the nose, it's much brighter. You got that deep Christmassy sort of spice with the Nocino from Ampersand. This one's much brighter. It's definitely like coffee, peel, that green walnut's there, but it's playing with everybody else right now. As expected from Woods, their limoncello, a few of the other things that they do, very bright, like very melodic, very like trebly sort of notes. With the Ampersand, you got like that deep bass, like sort of feel. The Woods is definitely like poppy and bright and shiny, and you still get all the flavor profiles there because it's been extracted so gently and so slowly at such a much lower temperature. You're keeping a lot of the bright acids and flavor profiles there together. The next Nocino we have, which I think this is the 3 Nocinos we have in BC. If I'm wrong, please comment below in the comments. So this is the Chino Nouveau from Bruinwood, which we've done a few things from the guys at Bruinwood. They do a lot of cool little things, very small batch, one batch off sort of thing. So this one's using black walnuts and it's barrel aged. So it's barrel matured a little bit and then sweetened with local honey. On the nose, you gain a little bit of alcohol. You gain definitely that much more black walnut, sort of almost coffee-esque sort of flavor notes on the nose. Alcohol's a little bit stronger on this one. That black walnut and that very heavy coffee flavor profile that you get extracted from that is really, really bold. Leans much more like the sort of struggle between a Nocino black walnut, which these guys are all green walnuts, that black walnut and coffee sort of feel. So That's a little bit of a struggle with a little bit of vanilla undertone now that I'm sort of like breathing out. And then that barrel finishing comes in and it's got this sort of spicy vanilla, like light Christmassy spice on the under palate as well. Very, very different to the other two. I probably would sit this first, then for flavor, like, actually no, the Woods has got that bright flavor, then this sort of sits in the middle, then the deep bass tones of the Ampersand is perfect. So, a good little spread of flavor profiles. I'm glad that they all taste sort of different, because if you've, I suppose every single one tastes different. Like, I remember the coffee episode like was really a lot of coffee. So next up, I would have to say this is like a bit of a cult brand here in BC, which is the Sons of Vancouver Amaretto. They were the very first Amaretto here in the province. The number 82 Amaretto, they use the apricot kernels, which is what Amaretto is made from. Amaretto is not made from almonds. It is from actual apricot kernels that give you that flavor profile of almond. Vanilla beans and honey. So this one's a classic. These guys have really just been, this is like their flagship, which is so weird. If you've ever listened to any of the podcasts I've done with James, having an Amaretto as your flagship spirit is the craziest freaking business model I've ever heard in my life. But it's a really, really classic style. Now, they do some cool stuff with it, which we're going to taste one of their stuff. One of their cooler expressions. It's like an Amaretto you've never had before in your life. You get that beautiful blackberry honey on the finish. On the nose, it's not too deep. It's a sort of medium heavy of that Amaretto sort of smell. You get the vanilla beans. You gain the little bit of honeycomb in there on the nose a little bit. And then on the palate, not overly cloying, which is great. Alcohol content on this little bad boy is 26%, which is great for liqueurs. Balancing off that acidity, sugar, or sweetness, and the alcohol content's a really good blend of, you still get beautiful acidity right in the back of your palate here, but then you also get this non-cloying sugar covering on your tongue. So for me, this is also one of those ones that you're not gonna like. It's not a plug and play for your classic Amarettos, your fake ones that you get on the shelves at BC liquor stores. This one you have to sort of play around with. For me, I love this in Amaretto sour, but Morgenthaler's recipe with a little bit of overproof bourbon. You got the money then. Next one up, this one's also from this is one of the barrel-aged ones, which you never really think you need a barrel-aged Amaretto in your life until you have one. And this one is ex-Westland peated single malt barrels, because why not? Now, the cool thing with doing a barrel-aged Amaretto is that then you have an Amaretto barrel to send over to the lovely guys over at Douglas, who do their single malt finished in ex-Amaretto barrels, which turns into The Godfather, which if you watched the single malt episode that I did a couple of weeks ago, you'll know about The Godfather. So the barrel-aged one. This is one that I didn't think, like, you don't usually think about aging a sweetened spirit because the way the sugars react in the wood, it always sort of plays kind of weird, so you never really quite know what's going to come out. But this, when I tasted it, I was just like, you know what, I didn't think I needed this in my life until I actually needed it in my life. On the nose, you automatically gain that, like, whiskey sort of forward, little bit of peat, not too much smoke, but a little bit of peat. You definitely can tell there's some barrel aging to it. And on the palate, it's just so crazy and weird and blows up on your mouth. It's sort of like, it reminds me of a s'more. So like the marshmallow and little cookies, and you put it on the fire and stuff, dip it in sugar. That's what it reminds me of. Is this beautiful, like gentle smoke, sweet Amaretto. You get this sort of pastry sort of cookie sort of feel. Like it literally tastes like s'more in a bottle. It is kind of insane when it does this. I haven't tried this in cocktails yet. It's one of those ones I haven't really played around with too much, but I will be in the future when we start doing the BCspirits stuff. But so what I'm aiming at is I would be playing around with this in another Amaretto sour, but maybe with a rye, something a little bit spicy, to sort of bring up that like freaking s'more sort of taste profile. So that's I think they've done 2 or 3 of these now, which I wish I had some more because I never really gave it its due until I tasted this one. I was just like, oh, I wish I picked up a couple of the other ones. But there's some nut liqueurs, or apricot kernel if we get technical, but really the nutty sort of flavor profiles that we gain from this. So go out, drink your Nocino straight, play around with them in cocktails, explore. These are great modifiers for cocktails. The Sons of Vancouver makes wicked Amaretto sours, and there's nothing wrong with doing Nocino sours as well. Like, play around with that. I think people would really jump back at that one, especially if you mix in with some gin or some rye or some bourbon and do it Morgenthaler style flavor profile and recipe. So that's Nut Liqueurs for this week, guys. Thank you so much for the support. If you haven't seen, I am wearing BC swag. Please go to the BC swag shop and pick up some BC swag to support BC spirits in your local distilleries. And I'll see you next week. Bye.